Hi there, Victor Pross speaking to you, anarchist artist. Okay, I guess it was inevitable that I would finally get around to covering this Kony 2012 business, and which has turned out to be a massive propaganda, fraud, bullshit thing that was for a short span of time there. The recent cause celebrate that everybody was jumping behind. The video got 70 million views or something to that effect, and celebrities and everybody was jumping on the bandwagon. And however, with overturning some stones, it's been found out, as I say, it's been turned out to be a massive propaganda film. And certainly Christopher Greene has been of Green Wave Radio has been having a lot of fun with this recent revelation of it being a fraud, and having a lot of fun with that. He's been like a little wind-up monkey doll banging on a snare drum, satirizing the whole thing, and talking about the dumb, stupid sheeple that people who bought into it. Now, while certainly I am a social critic myself and a satirist in spoken word as well as the visual image. That's why I say I'm a Victor Pross anarchist artist, because I am an anarchist and I'm an artist. I communicate visual messages as much as verbal ones. So now there's nothing really that I have a lot to say in regards to the specifics of the film, the filmmaker, and what's behind it, what the film is about. I mean, I'm sure that you've seen it, and I'm sure that you've seen other videos relating to it, uncovering why it was a fraud and whatnot. So there's no point in me going on about all the specifics of that, because you can go elsewhere for that, and that's in ready abundance. So I'd really like to talk about something else, and that relates to this recent propaganda campaign, and that's just basically to talk about the nature of the state, of which Kony 2012 is just another example of the state in operation. Now, it's really important to remember, really key to remember that what the word propaganda means. Okay, propaganda, from all other forms of communication, whether it be verbal or visual, propaganda, basically, for it to be propaganda, means the dissemination of falsehoods and lies for a social or political purpose. The dissemination of falsehoods and lies for a social or political reason. So this is that could be done verbally, that can be done visually, or it can use both of those types of forms of communication. And what separates propaganda from any other type of information is, as I say, is in the falsehood. Because if it's some other kind of information, something that's factual, well, then it's just a comment, or it's news, or it is information, or it's science, or it's philosophy. Then that's if it's factual, or is purported to be factual by honest intellectual means. In other words, like you could philosophize on some subject. You've gathered what you figure to be sufficient evidence, and what you consider to be a correct process of logic and reasoning, that you make a statement and you hold to it to be true, and you believe that, and there's not any kind of like rationalization involved. But it turns out later on that it wasn't true after all. That doesn't make it propaganda, and it doesn't make it a lie. It just means it was an error. So this is what separates propaganda from any other kind of comment or information. It is the deliberate deception and expansion of falsehoods and lies for a political outcome, and that's what this film is proven to be. Now, this speaks basically to the state, of course. The state is a massive propaganda machine, a massive propaganda machine. Now, insofar as the people who got all riled up and rallied behind this, I think that as opposed to considering the people as sheeple, for me, I take a more optimistic side in that it shows the humanity that people have, that they felt that, you know, wow, finally, a glimmer of hope, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel, a rekindling of the human spirit, that, you know, finally, that maybe something good is being done. So finally this thing, the government, the state, is evidence that that they can do something good. I mean, you might be very critical of the state, but you're not necessarily an anarchist. You might be a minarchist, and you might feel that that the state has a purpose. And finally, here's an example of something that the state is doing, that it's ultimately for humanity, and a glimmer of hope. And that's how a lot of people bought into this whole propaganda film. It's on that steam, on that spiritual capital, that people rode on the propaganda train that was Kony 12. That kind of optimism, and I think that's a very good thing. You know, I was talking to my brother the other day about the possibility of World War III and the invasion of Iran and so forth, and basically he said, well, no, that can't be. People can't be that stupid. People can't be that stupid, and if they are, if we do go into World War III, well then fuck it, then yeah, there's no hope for humanity, and maybe it's for the better, if for the extinguishment of the human species after all, if people are this fucking stupid. And my feeling is that no, this does not reflect on humanity as a whole. Okay, you have to remember that it's only states, it's only governments that launch wars. Okay, and the state is always just a small handful of people, a small handful of people, not even a speck, not even a splatter, not even a sliver, when you consider the immensity that is humanity out there. And where you do have blood-crazed lunatics, patriotic, flag-waving assholes with their bloodlust and their indifference to war, and you know, they just write it off as, hey, shit happens, you know, shit happens. You know, that's the nature of war. Well, usually those are the type of people that got their education from compulsory schooling and indoctrination centers. So whatever humanity that they have within them, to a certain degree, has been airbrushed out of them, has been squeezed out of them through the type of education that they received. It doesn't mean that they're completely total write-off as human beings, but insofar as where they do make callous statements like that, you can draw it back to their education. And it's not just public compulsory schooling that where we receive this patriotic, jingoistic bullshit. It's the culture at large that's continuously reinforcing itself through the media and through our conversations with other people, and through the social ooze and social conformity, where we mouth these platitudes because we don't want to be considered, oh my God, dreadful, an individual, right? Oh, fucking social conformists, man. You just gotta love them. But it doesn't necessarily reflect against humanity as a whole. If anything, I think the spark, the light at the end of the tunnel, was the outrage, the cry against this injustice of these poor, suffering children, which is a very real thing and something that is not to be, you know, to be downplayed. It is a very ugly, unfortunate reality. But let me just, but insofar as the American government and its involvement in it, or that the government or any government, whether it be the states or whatever, actually cares about this this phenomena, I just, God, I gotta set you straight, man. I just got to get this message out there. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about anybody. They don't care about these crimes, these injustices. They don't give a fuck. There's only two purposes that the government has. There's two means to which is one ultimate end. Two means to one ultimate end. This is what the state is about. Not just the imperial power of the United States. I'm talking about any fucking government, any state that has ever existed and does exist in the world. Okay. Their ultimate end is the preservation and the expansion of their power. The preservation and the expansion of their power. The preservation and the expansion of their power. That is all they care about. And there's two means by which they do that. Two means to which that is the ultimate end result that they want. Their ultimate objective. Two means. Number one, brute physical force. Brute physical force, or the threat of force. We'll just consider that as one thing. And it's pretty obvious, it's very clear, it's in your face, whether that be taxation or protectionist legislative laws, whether that be crony capitalism, the bailouts and whatever, the tax money, or imprisoning, or the imprisonment of people for victimless crimes, whatever. We can see this type of physical force out there in the open. Now, the second one is ideological warfare. Propaganda. Ideological warfare. Okay? The mind fuck. The manipulation. Okay, that's how they sold, for example, the Iraqi war. Was they were going to go in there and save the American people from a very real threat, the real threat of Saddam Hussein's concealed weapons, weapons of mass destruction, that as far as they were, as far as the American government was concerned, was prepared to use that. And no, we can't have that, because we care about the American people. We have been charged with the responsibility for the protection of the liberty and safety and well-being, the property, the lives of the American people. So that is why we're going to go in there, and we have to launch this war and to bring down Saddam Hussein, and people bought it. People bought it. And of course, later on, history has shown, well, that turned out to be a massive bullshit. But here we are again, hopping on the same fucking train. Same fucking train. All the state bullshit, all that goes down the memory hole. And we're up there again with their latest campaign in bullshit. And we're all over it again. What are we going to learn our fucking lesson? We have got to outgrow this fantasy. We have to let the state go from every fiber of our being. Right? We have to flush it out from our moral and intellectual and emotional centers. These people, the government, the state, they don't give a fuck about you. They don't care. You are a resource to these people. You are nothing more than a resource. You are a mass of flesh and bone and sinew and marrow, and you have emotions, you have a spirit, you have a reasoning capacity, and all of that is as a resource for the acquisition of power, the expansion of resources, the expansion of their power, the preservation of their power. That's what you are. You are a taxed livestock farm animal. Just like the farmer out there, he takes care of his animals to a certain extent with proper ventilation, make sure they don't get diseased and die prematurely before they're ready for the slaughter, or not to have the milk of the cows go bad and where it can't be consumed because of some disease or whatever. I'm not a farmer, but you get the point. There's a certain amount of care that is conducted, but there's only one purpose that the farmer is doing all that, only for one reason. It's not because I love my cows. Hi there, Betsy. Hi, Betsy the cow. I love you. I love you, Betsy. Hamburger tonight. And that's what you are to these sociopaths. to the ruling elite. That's all you are, is a resource. But unlike stock farm animals, where it's just a matter of physical force, and they don't need to be propagandized. Well, human beings are a little bit different, because we're human beings. So there's just another thing that has to be controlled, and that is our mind, our emotions, and that's all that this propaganda campaign, Kony 2012, is all about. And we have got to wake up. We have got to wake up if we are going to grow and expand as a human species. We've gone to a certain extent. We've brought about the Industrial Revolution. We certainly have a greater humanity when it comes to the suffering of children, and there's been great strides and jumps in humanity when it comes to civil liberties and whatnot. We don't come from some kind of like barbaric Bronze Age where where life was nasty, brutish, and short. There's still a great deal of work to be done, obviously, but the potential is always there. And if we're ever going to reach the full flower and bloom of humanity, it's not going to be through the state. This is Victor Pross signing out. Anarchist artist. Pop goes the culture.